I think both of those two players on Stevie Ward for his first try in the first half, right in front of the Wigan fans.
There you go.
And it continued. There was misses by Lulawai, there was misses across the park, but Leeds took great advantage of those things. They just ran harder, ran straighter, ran through these tackles, always found the men in support, found the right sort of option, and always were there in support. And I think the best three players in the game were Cuthbertson, Parcell and Ward.
Yeah.
But you could have picked a top three from almost every position in that Leeds Rhinos side, every player in that Leeds Rhinos side, because they were brilliant and Wigan were not.
Very good, fair enough. Well, I had wondered whether or not we'd get a mark rant, but that seems at this point.
I think we were on to call it a cup semi hangover, I don't know, but the players didn't train as hard this week, I know that.
Yeah.
And maybe that was part to play. But I don't want to say these things, and I don't want to criticise the Wigan team that played so well against Salford and got to Wembley too much when Leeds were just that much better than us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
True, I absolutely agree. So what did the stats tell us then?
Wigan actually made a little better average gain, 0.7 metres per carry better, but thanks in part to 2 more penalties conceded and 4 more errors made, they have much less ball than Leeds, who made 267 more metres and 11 breaks to 4, as well as a 2% better team tackle success.
Very good. Individually, who stood out for us then?
Stevie Ward.
Yes.
Most of the names we've talked about already, really. Stevie Ward, 3 tries, 40 tackles, 12 mark tackles, 6 tackle loss, 132 metres and 3 clean breaks. That's almost a complete performance. He just needed to throw 1 or 2 more offloads and he would have been perfect there. Ashton Golding, 2 tries, 5 tackle loss, 147 metres. Adam Cuthbertson, 108 metres, 7 successful offloads, some of them ridiculous. Ryan Hall, a try assist, 5 tackle loss, 193 metres. Liam Sutcliffe, 142 metres.
And for your Warriors then?
Well, Tom Davies did do some good stuff and grabbed 2 tries, 169 metres, 2 clean breaks for the young winger. Anthony Gellin, 142 metres and 3 successful offloads, so working hard. Oliver Gildart also in the other centre position, 145 metres. If Wigan were going to make headway, it was through those 2 areas, but they weren't quite good enough to execute on the back end of the runs. John Bateman, 42 tackles, 5 tackle balls, 112 metres, 3 successful offloads.
Yes, go on, John Bateman. Okay, what does that do for the standings in the top 8 then?
Cast stay top, but the margin slips to 8 points over Leeds. Hull stay third, and it's Saints up to 4th on 27 points. Do you think those 4 are going to be the 4? Don't want to get too knee-jerk, kind of react to the latest round of fixtures, but...
Well, perhaps not, but I don't think Salford, the teams below them, I think the 2 teams that could challenge for it in Salford and Wakefield are imploding. I don't think Huddersfield have got enough gas in the tank, and you lot, and similarly, you and Huddersfield are too far behind. Yeah,
Salford and Wakefield are outside the 4 now on 26 points. Huddersfield overtake Wigan on points difference at the bottom of the Super 8.
There you go.
Going to be a fun battle for the 8 spoon.
It certainly is. Okay, so that's the Super 8s taken care of. Let's take a look back now at round 1 of the qualifiers. Okay, so for the first time this season we've split our game review portion of the show in half, and we now start to talk about the qualifiers. Round 1 of competition play started on Friday night as Widnes took on Warrington. It finished 14 points to 28 in favour of the Wire in front of 6,202, refereed by Phil Bentham.
Yeah, we start with Paul O'Brien, who said, good for 65 minutes, played well in the first half after a shaky start. I'm going to guess it's autocorrect.
Paul's autocorrect at least doesn't get him into trouble. Mine might get me into trouble.
14-6 started to let Wire run more. Awful decision for Warrington to try to take them into the lead after a shocking forward pass. Widnes not fit enough. We had something to build on, but it will be tough.
And Wyatt Joe said, Christ, they really had me going for the first 40. We found a couple more gears to click into after half time, and from that point on, the game became more comfortable for us. 3 or 4 more wins, and we can hopefully put this shambles of a season behind us. Shit game review, but it's been a season full of shit. So what do you want from me? just to keep being honest, Joe. Just keep being honest, Joe. We love it.
Yeah.
That'll do for us, mate. Don't you worry.
But they won.
They did win.
They were down at half time, and
very much as Joe said, they kicked it up into second gear in the second half, and some interesting tries. Again, some damage being done down the middle though as well. So
well, they had some nice return. They had Reece Ambry back, didn't they, Widnes? So maybe that helped them score a few more points from their point of view. But obviously, once they kicked a penalty early second half, they opened a door, and that's not something you can really do when you've got genuine world-class players in the opposition lineup like Chris Hill and Darrell Clarke.
Yeah, that's it. That class is always going to get you over the line, isn't it?
I would think so, and they've got absolute striking people like Russell and Hickey. They're international players.
Tom Lynham's try was Ryan Hall-esque, shall we say, in his vertical or his horizontal leap, shall we say. Peter Hickey, another one who's settled in well to life at Warrington. I expected him to be more of a liability than he's proven to be to be honest.
But he's a high calibre player. He's a New Zealand international, and things maybe haven't worked out for him of late in the NRL, but I don't think anyone was expecting him to become a flop at Manly. Maybe never quite found his position in that side, maybe, is part of the issue.
True. I'm just looking to see if Pomeroy was in the...
No.
He wasn't, no Ben Pomeroy.
No. Pomeroy is absent, which is amusing.
Yes.
He'll be released soon enough. I think he was only brought in to cover short-term injury problems.
Yes, he'll be back to France.
Yeah.
There you go. That's all I've got for you on that one, really. Decent start. It went as you would expect, really. Widnes need to make sure they win all their games against the lower league opposition, because Christ knows they're going to be in the £1 million game if not.
I think that's where we're going to see what happens, and obviously when we see these teams on televised games in the qualifiers, we'll see more what their attitude is like, that you can pick up more than the snippets we've got here. But it's gone how we expected, didn't it?
Yeah. So stats-wise, who stood out for us individually?
Yeah, we can pick out some individual. I'm not bothering doing the sort of team analysis piece on the qualifiers because we don't always get all the games. But where we do get the numbers for the games, we will give highlight some individual performances. So Peter Hickey, a try assist, 154 metres and 2 clean breaks. Matty Russell, a try and 172 metres, so a nice return for him there. Tom Lynham, a try and 141 metres, so the back line doing it for the Wolves. For the losing Vikings, Cahill made 42 tackles, Matt Whitley made 49 tackles and 11 marker tackles, Stefan March 164 metres and 2 clean breaks.
Yes,
so those numbers, talking more about tackles, shows you kind of they put themselves on the back foot and had to work and didn't quite have the gas to hold wire out in the end.
There you go. So to Saturday afternoon over in West Yorkshire, then part-timers Fev Rovers took on the Leeds Centurions, and as you might have expected, it was 12 points to 38 in favour of the Super League side in front of a healthy 2,679, refereed by James Child, Mark.
Yeah, and Brian Davies said Fev looked like the lowest ranked team in the qualifiers. Too many penalties gave Lee the advantage, and this did look like men against boys. I wonder whether changing a coach at this stage, as Fev have done, was the wisest decision.
And Sarah McKenzie says Fev offered a nice few options in attack, but ultimately the difference in class between the two teams showed. It's an interesting point that Brian Davies made, because there's a big difference in the way that John Duffy is trying to get Fev to play compared to the way they've been doing it under John Sharp. And you wonder whether or not
there was a bit of ball movement.
Well, it's coming in.
They were trying to get the ball movement into in their own half too, weren't they?
Yeah, but the point I'm making is have Fev got the right personnel to immediately affect that John Duffy style of play quickly enough for them to make a fist of things in the eighth.
No, I completely agree.
Now, you would say that against Leeds Centurions, a team that have been playing Super League all season, who've been able to call upon umpteen fringe NRL lads to come in and bolster the squad ahead of the middle eights, this goes as you would expect, and that Ferro was on their best day, probably wouldn't have won this game.
They weren't great.
But that was the point going on to make. They're not exactly, they weren't world beaters, were they, in this one?
No, they weren't great, and I actually think it was an entertaining knockabout kind of a game for me.
Yeah.
This one, and I think Fev just were never going to be good enough, and Lee were always going to be good enough for the result to pan out as it did in this game.
Yeah.
But watching it wasn't like a miserable experience. I didn't watch the last 10 minutes or so because I had other jobs to get on with. But
other jobs to do.
But it was an enjoyable experience whilst I was watching it. So
did you have to drive over to Britain First meeting?
No, what we did is we had to get our tent out to air it out because it's been raining every time we've had an opportunity to do it since we went camping.
Right.
So we went round to Emma's mum's and dad's and put the tent up. Then went round to my dad, said bye to my sister, who
Of
was
course,
going back home to America on Sunday morning, and spent a bit of time there. Watched the cricket, the rugby, all the sport. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
And then went back and got the tent. And we went back and got the tent in the last 10 minutes of this game, so I could get home reasonably time to watch the Catalan London game on catch up on Sky with fast forwarding through all the various replays of refereeing decisions.
Yes, yeah, there's a lot of video refereeing this weekend as well. I meant to touch on that in the cash game.
And the Wigan game took an age or some of them.
Yeah, lots of video refereeing going on this week. Back yourselves, referees. We love you. No stats on this one then.
No, unfortunately not.
Saturday afternoon, evening down in the south of France. So nearly a upset. It was Catalan 20, London 18. Plucky performance from the Broncos in front of 7,102, refereed by Chris Kendall.
And Paul said, I am absolutely gutted. What a performance from the lads. Certainly did not deserve to lose. They went to a ground where Super League clubs have been battered. Today we did the battering. Keep playing like that, and not is there.
Do you think he meant MOT, as in MPB, MPG, £1 million game?
I don't know what he meant. Something is there for the taking, anyway.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, excuse me. Start again. Sarah McKenzie got in touch and said, a great game, really close. I think other teams need to watch out for London. They've travelled to France and only lost by 2 points. It'll be interesting to see who they have at home, particularly.
London Faithful said, London are an underestimated team, with Andrew Henderson not getting enough credit for what he has done for this club. From that awful season in 2014 at Barnet to now, the growth and stability is amazing. Catalans are underperforming hugely with the Stars, but is McNamara the right man to having failed as a head coach at Bradford?
There you go. And Malcolm Matios says, Cockneys cock up, Dragons drag out, win without fire, Super coach faces the knife. Very poetic.
I would say that Andrew Henderson is getting a ton of credit and being linked with being the next man to get the next job in Super League. So I have not seen any area of the rugby league commentary world, be it fans or otherwise, who are not giving Andrew Henderson credit for what he's done at London. So I'm missing that lack of credit if it's there. But obviously the Championship doesn't get talked about greatly. Now he's in the qualifiers and it's on TV. He will get talked about a lot, as he was throughout the coverage on Saturday evening.
He's a very astute coach, isn't he?
He's doing a great
tremendous job with London. Absolutely. Catalan Dragons, it just continues for them, doesn't it? They just seem to be scraping out the wins where you'd expect them to do well. There's that they shouldn't be getting the wind put on them quite this much. I'll temper it by saying, everyone's going crazy going, London only lost by 2 points. It was a 2-score game up until the very death when Mark Irony went for it from a penalty and managed to get over.
But that was only
fair play
after the try in the last 15 minutes. London were leading this game up until the 67th minute from and were leading throughout the first half, other than the Willie Army trying getting converted right on the hooter. Kind of would have upset them going into the half time, but then they didn't, did it? Because they came back out and straight away they were back on it. London, and they were leading this game. They were well within this game until the hour mark when
Louis Anderson
a penalty and then a try by Anderson, which was decent play, exploiting holes that would have been there at that point against the London team, who aren't used to playing against that physical a team for that longer an amount of time in that sort of conditions.
True.
Because they're coming from the Championship and making the step up.
Yeah, true.
To me, London were the better team in the game, but Catalan are the better side with the players they were able to have, and that's how they were able to play out in the end with, like you say, that Louis Anderson try.
Richie Marler's finished, by the way, for his try.
Up there with all of the other ones we've seen, and I agree with, even though it was a close call overturn, I liked the overturn of the decision because it was exciting, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a great finish and a try in my book as well.
I also thought the Kristen Inu no try on the tackled in the air was pretty harsh. There was contact, but I don't think the contact was a tackle, nor was it decisive in making the young fullback miss the catch. But I think if that had gone against London, it maybe would have been a little bit harsh. A few of the William Bartow, to me, is every bit Super League quality. I've only seen him play a couple of times this year. Both times I've seen him play,